The year is 2029. Europe, a continent so often scarred by war, finds itself teetering. Two nations, Poland and Germany, are caught in a spiral. They are neighbors and allies within NATO and the European Union. Yet, here we are. Imagining a scenario once confined to the darkest pages of history books. What could lead to such a catastrophic breakdown? Perhaps a deep political crisis, maybe a series of escalating border incidents. Or perhaps the ghosts of old grievances never truly laid to rest have risen once more. The specific spark is almost secondary to the terrifying reality of its potential. For decades, peace in this part of the world seemed almost guaranteed. But history teaches us a harsh lesson. It tells us that peace is never permanent. It is a fragile construct, easily shattered by ambition, fear, or miscalculation. The stakes could not be higher. By 2029, Poland's military has undergone a remarkable transformation. It is a nation that remembers its history. This memory fuels a fierce determination to forge a shield strong enough to deter any aggressor. Warsaw has invested heavily in its armed forces. Its defense budget has soared, becoming one of the highest in NATO as a percentage of GDP. Germany in 2029 presents a different, yet equally compelling military picture. For decades after World War II, Germany adopted a posture of military restraint. Its Bundeswehr was designed primarily for territorial defense within the NATO framework. However, the shifting geopolitical landscape of the 2020s has prompted a significant policy change. The Zeitenwende, or turning point, announced earlier in the decade, signaled a commitment to increased defense spending. Germany is a nation reevaluating its role and responsibilities. The German army, the Heer, remains a highly professional force. It possesses advanced equipment, including the Leopard 2 main battle tank, renowned globally for its effectiveness. The Puma infantry fighting vehicle is among the most modern in the world. The German Air Force, the Luftwaffe, operates Eurofighter Typhoon jets as its primary combat aircraft. It is also procuring F-35 fighters to enhance its capabilities, particularly for NATO nuclear sharing roles. Germany's true strength lies in its economic powerhouse status. It has the largest economy in Europe. The question for 2029 is how much of this potential has been translated into deployable military capability. Comparing the military strengths of Poland and Germany in 2029 reveals a fascinating dynamic. Poland is on a trajectory of rapid military expansion. It is driven by a sense of urgency and a clear strategic vision. Germany is in a process of rebuilding and modernizing its forces. Sheer numbers of personnel might favor Poland, especially if its territorial defense force is fully mobilized. Polish ground forces, particularly in terms of tanks and artillery, could be numerically superior by 2029 due to aggressive procurement. Technologically, both nations field advanced Western equipment. Germany's Leopard 2 tanks and Poland's incoming K2S and Abrams are near-peer competitors. The F-35 fighter jet, operated by both air forces by 2029, represents the pinnacle of aerial combat technology. Germany's deeper industrial base and technological sector could provide an edge in a protracted conflict. One crucial difference lies in recent combat experience and readiness. While neither nation has been involved in a major state-on-state war for decades, Polish forces have been actively training. Ultimately, a direct comparison is complex. Section 5. Theaters of War. Imagining the unimaginable front lines. If the unthinkable happened, where would battles be fought? The Polish-German border stretches for over 460 kilometers. It is largely flat and open terrain, especially in the western part of Poland. This is classic tank country. The North European plain offers few natural obstacles. This geography would likely lead to a war of maneuver. Both sides would seek to use their armored formations to achieve breakthroughs. The initial clashes could be incredibly intense and fast-moving. Speed and initiative would be paramount. Potential front lines could emerge along major river lines. The Oder and Neisse rivers form a significant part of the border. These could become defensive lines or contested crossing points. Securing bridges or establishing pontoon crossings under fire would be a major challenge. Urban areas near the border, such as Szczecin or Frankfurt, Oder, Słubice, could become focal points of fighting. Urban warfare is notoriously costly in lives and resources. Air combat would be critical from the outset. Both sides would strive for air superiority. The battle for the skies would directly impact the battle on the ground. Section 6. Geographies dictate the lay of the land in conflict. Geography is always a silent, unyielding participant in war. The North European plain, as mentioned, dominates the potential Polish-German theater. Its open nature favors mechanized warfare. Large formations of tanks and infantry fighting vehicles can maneuver relatively freely. This puts a premium on reconnaissance, intelligence, and the ability to react quickly to enemy movements. However, the same openness makes forces vulnerable to air attack and long-range artillery. There are few places to hide large concentrations of troops or equipment. The extensive network of rivers and canals in western Poland and eastern Germany would also shape operations. Rivers like the Oder, Warta, and Vistula, further east in Poland, are significant obstacles. They can be used as defensive lines. They can also channelize advancing forces, making them predictable targets. Securing bridgeheads across these rivers would be key objectives. Engineers on both sides would be working frantically. While much of the terrain is open, there are also significant forested areas and lake districts. These regions, such as the Pomeranian Lake District, offer better cover and concealment. The changing seasons would also play a role. Geography doesn't just shape battles, it shapes the entire campaign. Section 7. The sinews of war logistics in a modern European conflict. Amateurs talk strategy, professionals talk logistics. This old adage holds truer than ever in modern warfare. A hypothetical 2029 conflict between Poland and Germany would be a logistical nightmare. Both nations field sophisticated, high-tech military equipment. This equipment consumes vast quantities of fuel, ammunition, spare parts, and specialized maintenance. Sustaining high-intensity combat operations for even a short period would require an immense logistical effort. The side that manages its supply chain more effectively gains a significant advantage. Consider the fuel requirements alone. A modern main battle tank can consume hundreds of liters of fuel per hour of operation. Ammunition expenditure in modern combat is also staggering. Artillery batteries can fire thousands of shells per day. Fighter jets require missiles, bombs, and cannon rounds. These supplies must be transported from depots, often hundreds of kilometers behind the front lines. The battle of logistics would be fought relentlessly, day and night, far from the front lines but decisively shaping its outcome. Section 8. The Alliance Labyrinth, NATO's Nightmare Scenario. A war between Poland and Germany, both NATO members, is the ultimate nightmare scenario for the alliance. NATO's cornerstone is Article 5. It states that an attack on one member is an attack on all. But what happens when one NATO member attacks another? The treaty offers no clear answer. This situation would plunge the alliance into an unprecedented crisis. It would threaten its very existence. The political shockwaves would be felt across the globe. The carefully constructed post-Cold War security architecture of Europe would shatter. The immediate question would be, who is the aggressor? Both sides would undoubtedly claim the other initiated hostilities. Other NATO members would face an agonizing choice. Do they take sides? Do they attempt to mediate? Or does the alliance simply fracture along pre-existing fault lines? The United States, as the most powerful member, would be in an incredibly difficult position. The European Union would face a similar existential crisis. The ripple effects would be felt for decades to come, reshaping the international order in unpredictable ways. Section 9. Echoes of the past, shadows of the future, no true victors. So, who would win a hypothetical war between Poland and Germany in 2029? The question itself is fraught. In such a conflict, there would be no true victors. The cost in human lives would be horrific. Soldiers and civilians on both sides would suffer immensely. Cities and infrastructure, painstakingly built over generations, could be devastated. The economic damage would be catastrophic, not just for Poland and Germany, but for Europe and the wider world. The psychological scars would last for generations. From a purely military perspective, the outcome is uncertain. Poland, with its rapidly modernizing and potentially larger land forces by 2029, might achieve initial successes. However, Germany's larger economy, deeper industrial base, and technological potential would give it an advantage in a protracted war. But winning on the battlefield would be a Pyrrhic victory. The short-term perspective might see intense, fluid battles. Control of key terrain and the ability to disrupt enemy logistics would be crucial. Therefore, the most important winner in this scenario is the imperative of peace.